Hello and welcome to the Australia Today. I'm your host Jab Bharadwaj, and with us is our editor Dr. Amit Sarwal and a guest from Canada, Sameer Kaushal. He's news director of Sherry Punjab Radio in Canada. Sameer, welcome to the Australia Today. It's very
Thank you
unfortunate.
so much.
It's very unfortunate why we are having Samir with us. I wish it was a pleasant situation. I would have talking to him for something good and great. However, the Khalistani menace, the Khalistani extremists are running amok globally now. It's not about Australia. It's not about Canada or UK or USA. They are running amok globally, and uh, a solid confined method has to be developed to deal with that. However, what has happened, we will ask Samir. Before that, I would like to show you a video. You would understand what Samir has gone through this video. Let's have a look, and then I'll come back to all of you. What you're seeing here are pictures of Samir being taken away by police rioters. Why? Because these Palestinian goons, who you can see in the pictures, tried to assault Samir. Why they assaulted? Because he was there as a journalist to do his job. He was there to cover an incident. He was there to cover something which is important for the communities. As a journalist, is he who's supposed to show it to people, but he was assaulted in return for doing his job. Let's talk to him. Samir, I'm sorry about what happened to you. Can you please tell me? I think you have to turn your camera. It just moved. Yeah. Samir, really sorry what you went through. Uh, can you describe what happened there at the heat of the movement? Why these goons, the extremist Khalistan supporter, why they assaulted you?
I think whatever is happening in India, that was the reaction to that, where the Punjab police is trying to arrest, the vice Punjab Day's chief Amritpal Singh. So that is the reaction which we can see in Canada or England or even in Australia. Yesterday on 19th of March, Indian High Commissioner from Ottawa, he was scheduled to visit in the West Coast, and he was scheduled to visit in some gurdwaras and temples and in a community event for Indo-Canadian diaspora, and that was scheduled by Indo-Canadian Foundation, and that event was scheduled to be held at 6 p.m. So I was invited for that event by the organizers, and the moment I went there, I saw that a group of pro-Khalistani supporters, they blocked that event with their trucks, and they were shouting their slogans, and they were protesting in front of that event. And there were so many RCMP officers over there, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers over there. I asked to the police officers that if they can allow me to go into the event, which was supposed to welcome for the Indian High Commissioner. But they said that the gates are closed and no one can go in. You can ask the protesters. So I politely asked the protesters if I can go in. They refused to let me in. They said nobody can go in. And then I said, since I am here, I can take your statement if you are, protesting against this event or against the Indian government. And by the time the organizers, they were trying to instigate the crowd, and approximately 20-25 youngsters, those who had covered their faces with the clothes, they just swarmed me. They just made a circle around me, and they were just trying to push me and trying to actually threaten me. They were saying that you should leave, otherwise there's going to be bad thing happens to you. So this kind of wording, and even in Punjabi language, they were abusing me in those words. And when they were pushing me around, the RCMP cops, they just came and they pull me out from that crowd, and they, push me away from the crowd, and they told me that you have to leave right away from this place for your own safety, as we cannot provide you the security. So I was very disappointed. I was very, I told one of the officer that do not touch me, because he was pushing me as well. And even when I told them that I want to go back to my car, they said you cannot go from this place. We have to give you a ride in our cruiser. So they gave me a ride in their cruiser, and my spirits are high. I know it is very disappointed. I know disappointing, and I know it was a terrible, scenario at that time, which I haven't gone through. But I think in journalism, line of the journalism, we have to go through these events, and we have to, calm down our temper as well. Yes, Jay.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Samir, you went through what you did. It's very hard. Just a couple of days back, I was in Brisbane where the Khalistan propaganda meet was happening, and they were doing the same instigation. They were coming very close to us. They didn't assault me, but they were trying to intimidate me to stop what I was doing. I was doing live broadcast from there, connected to the studio. My director was telling me to be safe. So it's kind of I'll bring in here Dr. Amit Sarwal. He has been studying and writing about diaspora behaviors. Dr. Sarwal, what do you see? I mean, is this the normal behavior which should be there, or which we probably might see in coming weeks, days, or years, or is it going to be more violent? What is your observation on that?
Now, Jay, first of all, my sympathies and full support to Samir in what he went through in Canada. But if you look at, if I go back to your question, then yes, this is just a taste of Australian future. Basically, Canada and UK have been good learning points for Australian authorities, where they could have interacted. If remember, Mounties are so helpless in front of this crowd, then what would happen to Vic Police, Queensland Police, and AFP, who have not dealt with these situations? So one thing is very clear, that somewhere Khalistanis have taken over the policy advisory groups, the media advisory groups. They have also put uh, statistically, if you look at maybe 1 in 3 advisors is a Khalistan supporter somewhere sitting there with police. And instead of arresting the people who are intimidating a journalist, instead of letting the journalist enter the place to cover the event where he has been invited, so he's not going uninvited into an event, and the organizers of the event are asking him to leave. No, they want him to come inside. Instead, the police is asking the Gherao, the extremists, to let him enter. This is basically bowing down to the extremist element. And I have never, like, I have I know the Canadian stories. I know the stories of Khalistanis. I was there in 2019 December, 20 January. I spent the whole 40 days, I think 45 days in Canada. I talked to a lot of taxi drivers who were from Surrey. uh, while traveling from North Vancouver to Vancouver City, we were taking mostly taxis, traveling around. And most of the taxi drivers, even Sikh taxi drivers, said that they are scared of the Khalistanis in Surrey. Some of them have actually uh, taken out their children from the public schools, and they have sent them to other places for high school, secondary school, because they don't want their children to be radicalized. And I'm talking about Sikh taxi drivers who do not support. So this thing, these people with 50, 60 goons, mostly youngsters, you are seeing a new generation of radicalized, desperate Khalistanis looking for a fantasy land that has been promised to them. And this will be a future of Australia if Australian authorities do not act fast. Jay.
This is unfortunate, I mean, uncalled for. We at Australia today, we stand in solidarity with you, Samir. Um, freedom of press is one of the most important pillars of democracy. And in democracy, um, if this sort of intimidation is happening, either you report what we want you to write, or we will you will face the consequences. Australia Today's team, my team, Dr. Sawal, and my other colleague, she has been intimidated. Our pictures have been put on posters that deal with these guys. This Panu guy in America, he has been signaling gunshots at us, and we need to work. We will not cow down. However, I think Five Eye countries at least need to act on them to make sure where is their line. If they cross that line, then the full force of law they should face it, and they should be put or treated as the terrorism, or internal terms, the counter-terrorism terms, we call it the internal goons. The gangland wars laws should be attached to these people, because they are organized criminals. They are working through American, through Australian, New Zealander, and other groups. I have seen one group of these people on WhatsApp. I mean, they are exchanging even the timings. That morning happens first in New Zealand, so 7 o'clock in New Zealand, 11 o'clock in Australia. Then it will be 2 o'clock somewhere in Europe, Italy, and then 5 o'clock it will be in UK, and then it reaches to America, Canada. So all day they have planned. They are working like an organized gang of people, if that is the moderate word I can use. Otherwise, they are working as a organized terror group at the moment. That's what I can say. Can you tell me what is the situation in Canada, Sameer? How strong and how much influence do they peddle in terms of government and other authorities, and of course the political authorities?
I think once again, I mean, there are sympathizers of Wars Punjab, the Jathebandi's chief, Amritpal Singh, and there are sympathizers of ideology of Khalistan as well. And time to time, they do, organize their events, especially with the Khalistani referendum, which happened, I think, last year as well in Toronto. And on the West Coast, where I am living, I think there is not that much, support from the community, from within the community. Yes, there are certain groups, those who have this ideology of Khalistan, and they are supporting that ideology. But on the eastern coast of Canada, I think they have a major support over there. And they are getting support from the SFJ as well, the Six for Justice group as well. And I think some politicians as well, maybe they do, have some soft corners for this ideology as well.
Uh, Amit, in Australia also, we just saw a couple of politicians going in support of Amritpal's protest. What is this? What is this phenomena from Canada to Australia? Why these politicians are supporting them? Are they giving them money, fundraisers, or muscle power? What is the reason behind it?
Now, Najita, we have seen that in Canada you have a prominent politician who belongs to the Sikh community, and he openly supports the Khalistani movement as well, by projecting it as a peaceful humanitarian human rights movement. In terms of Australia, when the referendum started happening, we saw the closet Khalistanis coming out, making groups on the instructions of their US masters. Basically, I'll call them masters because they have no presence here at all. And one of the first things they did was to go and look for Australian politicians, MPs who need funding, who are on the fringe, and then they got photographs with them to show that Australian politicians support their cause. What, how they went there, who organized this is not known, but they will be political advisors from the same political party, be it Liberal or Labour or any other fringe party. Uh, what they told the politician is not open, because these politicians did not say anything. They just got photographed with these people without maybe not realizing what they stand for, right? But you can clearly see the weapons and everything they took around Canberra. Then the second phase started, where these media political advisors have started telling politicians that this is a human rights issue in India, which it is not. It is actually a terrorism issue. And now, as I've been telling, that this is, yes, it will impact India most, because that's where they want to make Khalistan. But it will impact Australia, Canada, UK, USA as well, because it's going to be, their offshoots are there, right? So um, if, say, if someday these goons are not happy with Australian politicians or Canadian politicians, they can start saying Surrey banega Khalistan or Brampton banega Khalistan. Who will stop these guys then, right? They can say, we will make Melbourne or Brisbane Khalistan now. Who will stop you? No one, because you have got the footing. One particular party I know is working on behest of the Pakistani agents. I will not name them. It's very clear who is the political party. They are supporting this cause because of their left-leaning ideology and anti-India feelings. Good on them. If they want to go this way, they will take down the Australians with them. Basically, um, these goons will not stop until they are, either it's going to be the same situation. You have to stop Khalistani terrorists, otherwise they are going to keep moving. We will have a situation like Kanishka at some stage, where then politicians will start hiding and they'll say, I didn't know these guys, I have no idea what they were standing for. You had every opportunity to learn. You had every opportunity given by journalists like Sameer, Jitarth, and many others, Terry in Canada. You have been pointed out what these guys stand for, yet you look the other way. Jay. Jitarth, your mic.
I'm on mute. Yeah, Samir, last words from you. How, where do we go? I mean, in terms of reporting, are we still able to report on them, or we should be, or we will be stopping to report on these guys and try and talk about something else, probably a dance and cultural program of Indian community, colorful food or something like this. This is what we are going to report, or we can still report about hardcore issues which pest our communities, may it be Canada or Australia or New Zealand.
I think this is the basic fundamental right for a journalist as well, to report whatever comes into their knowledge, and especially to give a factual knowledge to our listeners, to our readers, to our audience, to our viewers. That should be our main motto. And I know these things going to happen. These kind of obstacles going to come in front of us, and we should not lose our hope, and we should be optimists. We should keep our spirits up, and we just have to work in a right manner. That's all.
Thank you so much for those words, Samer. And I definitely believe that freedom of press, we are with you. We support you in any which way. The Australia today will stand with Sameer Kaushal in any which way in his pursuit of reporting and being a journalist. Amit, you wanted to say something? I'll give you last word, and then we'll call it.
I just wanted to, again thank Sameer for his time. That he, after the ordeal he went through, he still has, he's still high in spirits, and he's still talking with the other journalists. He's sharing his experience. But I think, Jitat, it is time that somewhere that journalists who are writing factually, not against Khalistan or in favor of India, journalists like Sameer, and there are many others like Naomi in UK. You have some journalists like in USA and India too. I think it is time that journalists should form some kind of coalition, a support group that will help them share information at a speed. We are not dependent on Twitter for the next stage of information. I think Terry, when we were interviewing Terry, he said a very good thing, because he's a white journalist, white Canadian journalist. If something happened to him, people knew who the culprit was immediately. But with ethnic journalists, the Indo-Canadian, Indo-Australian journalists, uh, police can easily be told that this was an issue with, Indian. It was an Indian issue, Indian group issue. So I think somewhere we need an association of the World Association of Ethnic Journalists, Indo-Canadian, Indo-Australian, Indo-UK journalists that can fight, that can show that we are not here to report about food, culture, dress. We are not here to make you aware. We are here to make you learn about everything about our culture and the diaspora. Thank you.
Very useful words there. Probably Sameer may agree with a lot of things which you have said. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining with us. This is your host, Jay Bharadwaj. Unfortunately, incident has happened in Canada. We have reported it. We'll be reporting more detail in our text story also. Keep a tab on this space. And Sameer Kaushal and Dr. Amit Sarwal, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samir.